So, Nedum, have teams worked City out?
You could say that they have, but just because you work out doesn't mean you can do the same thing. I think when you look at, say, the likes of Semenyo and what he was doing to Kyle Walker, you look at Kirkez, the left-back, in terms of how he can bomb up the pitch. You look at the sort of midfield profile that Bournemouth have, the way that they might try and play out from the back, the speed and the presence, to say, like Evan Nielsen and people have in the middle. You can say to yourself, this is how we want to try and do it to them. But do you have the players to be able to do it? I think across the last few years, you see City really struggle with matchups like, say, against Spurs, when they can be really dynamic in transition. Teams who can drop off and then bang, off they go. You know, we saw that with Spurs in the midweek in the Carabao Cup as well. So, yeah, you can say that this is the way to do it. But essentially, it's not just for City. If you have a team that wants to keep possession, they want to keep possession in your half, the best way to beat them is to hit them in transition. But again, do you have the players to be able to do it? Do you have the coaching ability to teach them, like, these are the specifics, these are the details? And as is the case with most wins against big teams, like, will you have the luck as well within the game in sort of key moments? Because, you know, for the last few weeks, even though they've not been great, we've seen Haaland miss some opportunities. If you take some of those, maybe games feel a bit different. You know, and as was the case in the game against Southampton, like a 1-0 win that possibly could have been a lot more. So I think teams have an idea of how they want to do it, but in reality, not every team can. And some teams that do try, well, it's a far different affair if you're 1-0 down. But as soon as Bournemouth took the lead and they were at home, I think they were very, very impressive.
Mario?
Yeah, I also think, you know, when you face a City side and they're good, you know, what Nedum says is very good, that you can try to figure them out, but you don't have the ability, of course, that the team possesses. But one thing you can have is you can bring your energy and making sure that every game against them is a final. And that is what all the players have. I mean, when you play, it doesn't matter who you play, but when you face the champions, you're gonna, you know, that game is for you the big game, and you're waiting for that. So if you look at the front, you understand, for Bournemouth, all of them are what, 25, 24? I think one of them is 24. I mean, Clifford, you know, Semenyo. Those, if you look at those players, the energy that they had in that game, when you looked at the first and the second half, that is sometimes also questionable when you play against a City side, because those are the guys that they don't always have to put that energy in, because they can play on autopilot. And sometimes you're going to get caught because the autopilot. And I think that was one of the key things that what surprised them a little bit, in the sense of, like, we're going to win this game. They were kind of like, wow, they're really coming at us. And I think sometimes you cannot adjust that.
Why does Foden look like he should be wearing an England shirt, Nedum?
Sorry, say that again. Could you explain that one to me?
Why is Phil Foden rubbish this season?
Oh, that's what you're getting to. Sorry, I couldn't read between the lines.
Yeah, I know, it's late.
I don't know, to be honest. It's a very targeted question, and he has had a slow start. You know, he's not started as many games as, say, he would have hoped to. There was a spell where he was on the sidelines with something like a virus. I think for some of the players for City, especially the ones who've played for England, I don't think many of the ones who were playing in that European Championship final come the start of July have done anything significant so far this season. They've had time on the sideline. They had slow starts when they were put into the side, and Phil Foden is suffering with that as well. I think it's disappointing from him, given how successful he was last season. You know, his best ever season in helping City win that Premier League title for the 4th time. But I think Guardiola's just going to have to persist with these guys and hope that they can find that form. Foden's head is down, he's frustrated, he's not scoring goals for England either. So this is somewhat of a disappointing spell for him. But one thing that I've seen from him individually is, like, he's very driven. I think this spell will matter to him. He'll want to find his way out of that. And for him being a Man City supporter as well, I think the plight of the team, I think he's somebody who wants to take it on his shoulders. So I'd expect to turn around at some point. Probably not going to be as good as it was last season. But the fact is, I think he will still carry a huge impact. It wouldn't surprise me if it starts in the Champions League in midweek and then come the weekend as well.
Well, speaking of Champions League midweek, of course, it takes more significance now, given who Sporting manager is and who he will be in charge come next week. Myself and Nedum have gone for a draw. Meanwhile, Ali, Stevie and Mario have all gone for a Manchester City victory.
That was very clear, Dan.
Thank you very much.